I'm Jamie, an American living in Australia who house sits full time. And in between those house sits, sometimes I stay in hostels. And I feel like they get a bad reputation, but honestly, they might not be as bad as you think. I am currently in between house sits, and sometimes I stay at an Airbnb, sometimes I'll stay at a hotel, or sometimes I stay at a hostel. And this week we are staying at a hostel. And I think that a lot of people have misconceptions when it comes to hostels, and especially as someone who is in their late 30s, I think going to a hostel you feel like, oh, it's just for young partier backpackers. But in my experience, you really have to do your research to find the ones that are more like catered towards digital nomads, not really like young 18-year-old backpackers that are just like trying to find the cheapest accommodations and party. Like this place, I've seen people that are like older than me here, that are just like, they work from anywhere, and there's like little lounges out there. It's really nice. I just think you have to do your research. That's just my opinion. I've had great experiences at some hostels, but I've had some not so great experiences. So I do think that it is hit or miss, and it does depend on what you're looking for. But let me show you around my room. You walk in, we got a trash can. We got a full-length mirror, and we have all the beds. I have booked a 6-bedroom dorm. This is an all-female room, but the mixed rooms look pretty much the same. I've stayed in those as well. There's a little change area here with a curtain and some hooks in there. The beds are labeled, which I love, so that you book your actual bed and you can pay like $3 extra a night, and you can request a top or a bottom bunk. I always request a bottom bunk. In my old age, these old bones aren't climbing up and down a ladder, okay? Save that for the 18-year-olds. And then they have lockers on the bottom. So depending on where you're staying, some of them have lockers on the side, and then bring a lock. Bring a lock, and sometimes you need to make sure you have a lock with like a thin little wire so that it can actually go through, because some of them, the sizing. So do your research on the lock, like best locks for hostels. And yeah, this is what the lockers look like. So they all are labeled as well, so you know which one it is. It matches your bed. This is my bed, and I currently have the room to myself. They also have these little stations, so you can put your phone on here. There's a USB, this little light, so at night, and then you can like blow dry your hair. And then there's one up there with the little light. There's a few of them on the walls. This is my little section. So usually when the room is full, you'll see like little sections like this, like someone else will do their little pile here, and then this whole wall will probably be like sectioned off with people's little areas of their stuff. My suitcase actually does lock. So if I leave the room, I'm not really worried about it. You gotta sort yourself out when it comes to the safety of your personal belongings. But yeah, there's hooks on the walls. So I have a towel. I have all my toiletries. I have a hanging toiletry thing. So I just take that into the bathroom, and each of the rooms have a bathroom. So you're sharing this with your roommates?
I know some people are weirded out by sharing a bathroom with other people. I've never had any big issues. There are some other alternate bathrooms if someone's in the bathroom when you need to use it, but I've never really had a problem with them.
The rooms do have heating and cooling in here. I've stayed here in the summer, and the aircon, you don't get to control it, they control it, but it was nice and chilly in here in the summer, which I've stayed in hostels where they don't have any air conditioning, and trust me, it's a nightmare. Have a big old window that you can also open up as well. Not the best views, but yeah, so right now they have the heating on because it is winter, but this is my hostel. And I can't believe that I have it all to myself. They have 10 bedrooms, 8 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms, or 4 bedrooms. I've stayed in pretty much all of the ranges in various hostels I've stayed in. But yeah, not all hostels are grimy, bug-infested, 18-year-old drunkards pissing on you in the middle of the night. But you gotta do your research. Let me show you the beds though. They have privacy curtains, and this is what I look for anytime I'm looking for a hostel these days. It must have privacy curtains. I don't think I could ever stay in a hostel that doesn't have them anymore, and luckily they are becoming more popular. It's giving those pod hotels in Japan. The curtain. So, and then you can close them all the way, so they do get a little blackout. They get a little blackout vibe going. Then they have the pillow and the blanket folded for you. You have a little net, so I always put like my side table. This is basically my little side table stuff goes in there. Then you got the power points too. And then there's space here that I'll put my water bottle and stuff. I have a whole system. And then you get the light. Annoying thing is if you're on the bottom bunk, light does come through it there, but I sleep with the eye mask on, so. And if there's too much noise, I sleep with noise canceling headphones on. So yeah, that's how I survived staying in a hostel in my late 30s. It's definitely not for everyone, but I think if you do your research, you find a great location, you might just surprise yourself. So happy hunting if you're out there in your late 30s trying to find a hostel. They also come and empty the bins like daily. There's one in the bathroom here, and there's one here. They keep it pretty clean and tidy, and I think that's the only way that I could stay in a hostel. It's just like a cheaper mini hotel. They do have private rooms though. I've stayed in their private rooms as well. There's a couple of hostels around Melbourne like this. Do your research. And then when I go out, I just close my little curtain for some extra privacy, and I'll leave my stuff in there. I leave my pajamas there so that when I come back, I can just change into them and climb into bed. Fingers crossed, no one checks into this room while I'm here. I'm only here for a couple days before the next house sit, but I can't believe that I have the room to myself. I've shared the room with like 3 people before, but I didn't see them the entire time. So that's the other thing. Like if people are out and about traveling, sometimes they just come in to sleep. I've had people that come in the middle of the night at like 2 a.m. that I've like heard half asleep, and then they're gone in the morning. They're like doing a quick overnight and then off to another location. So you just never know what you're gonna get. Life's like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're gonna get. So that's my little house tour.